Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you so much, Chris. And let's get into the rapid fire section. So we're going to throw a couple of
Let's do it.
fastballs, curveballs at you. So do be prepared to be a little surprised with a couple of these
Absolutely.
questions.
Listen, this is where that improv training comes into play. Nothing that you can ask me
Absolutely.
can surprise me. However, I will warn you that I will not do anything to incriminate myself.
Nice. Okay. So first question. What are some of the books that have influenced you the most over the course of your life?
So there are a couple of books that I will cite and mention. I think all books are influential. I think that one of the benefits of reading books is being able to draw lessons from them, and that includes fiction as well. And I still draw lessons from fictional books all the time, in addition to drawing lessons from nonfiction. But we're going to focus on the books that have had the greatest influence. So, book number one I'm going to mention is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. A big part of my maturation, as you heard, was learning to go from an individual contributor to somebody who influenced others. And obviously, a book that's called How to Win Friends and Influence People is all about that. And reading that book was very seminal in sort of understanding how to better have an empathetic point of view and to get the most out of working with others. So that was definitely a big, big book for me. Another book that was really influential for me and for many other people is the combination of Crossing the Chasm and The Innovator's Dilemma. And these two books really kind of summarize what's really important when it comes to the startup industry. Crossing the Chasm, of course, is by Jeffrey Moore, and it talks about how the big challenge for startup companies is to cross the chasm between early adopters and the mainstream and establish things like the beachhead strategy, which again you could see play out over and over and over again. A company like Airbnb establishes a beachhead in being able to provide shared rooms and apartments, eventually branches out, has tree houses, castles, and everything, right? So the crossing the chasm strategy remains so important to this day. Innovator's Dilemma is similar, which basically says, this is by the great Clay Christensen, the late great Clay Christensen, who was an amazing guy. I did have a chance to work with him a little bit when I was at Stanford, and I've friends with a number of his proteges, and they say amazing things about him. Great human being as well as a brilliant thinker, one of the most influential management thinkers of the past 50 years. But with Innovator's Dilemma, what he said very specifically is the disruptive technologies do not look like they're going to dominate the market at first. They're at the low end. They look like toys. They have very limited applications. And in fact, you see the tie between the two because those limited applications are the beachhead. And then they gradually get better and better. And the key is their rate of improvement is greater than the rate of improvement of the existing incremental established technology. And so this is another way, another lens of understanding how the entire startup world works. We're constantly disrupting from below. That's always what's going to happen. And understanding these two books and their principles has been critical to my success in the startup world.